back at Wonderland for Chapter 2 in this year's Haunt 2025. And today we're going to be, well tonight, as the sun is just about to go down, we're going to be focusing on the haunts themselves. We do have a pass for all the haunts this year, or at least an access pass, which costs $10. And then we also have a pass for the Conjuring. It actually is going to happen in the midpoint of our experience today. As it is an exclusive experience, it's $30 plus tax. You're sent in groups of 8 into this experience that is located right inside Wonder Mountain. A lot going on. It's busy in the mountain this year for sure. All right, we have actually just showed up in time for the monsters to be unleashed on the park. So we're gonna go check that out, and then we'll get down to reviewing all the houses, or as many as we can for you this year, including the Conjuring. Haunt 2025 continues. In the Freak Show section, which we reviewed in the last video, and now we're having the official Gold Rush cider, because I haven't actually had it before. I'm not a big fan of peaches, but it's actually pretty decent, and it was recommended to me, so I'm trying it out. It's kind of a cool little spot to hang out before the festivities begin. As we go through some of these houses that, yes, I've done a fair amount of times. It's not such a bad deal to have only $10 for the Haunted Attraction Pass. If you've never done them, then that's actually a tremendous deal. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what the Conjuring has got set in store for us. It's kind of convenient that there's no wait. Outside of that, it doesn't look like it's going to be crazy busy. Now, the bars are the focus now, it seems, at the Haunt this year, as there's many pop-up ones throughout this area, so it is appropriate that I'm starting in a bar here because, yeah, you have a themed one over by the Conjuring, next to the gift shop and everything like that. I'm not too familiar with that universe, so don't expect any expert analysis when it comes to the movie franchise here. This is the first attempt at the park to have a themed IP in a haunted house, so, you know, you have some tie-ins and merch tie-ins, added fees, and all that kind of jazz. So I'll be honest about my analysis of it and my impressions of the experience overall. So I'm going to finish this, and let's get on to the haunt. I'm still going to be doing a separate vlog about my coaster rankings, but I've got to share a little bit of the experiences that I've had over the last couple of visits, because I realized that I didn't actually do that while I was in the park, rushing around getting you know, coverage and all that kind of stuff. And maybe sometimes being grumpy, but that's not what we're here for today. We're gonna have a good time. Behemoth, fantastic ride. I haven't been able to get on the back or the front, or like those premium seats in the couple visits that I've been here, but it always delivers. I'm noticing that the trim is pretty light on the return, so that's always nice. It's gonna be much more forgiving as far as the airtime is concerned. But now with the spoils of this park, it just doesn't stand out quite the same as it used to, unfortunately. So I'm not giving it quite as high as a ranking this year. In addition to that, you have Leviathan, which really hasn't given me too much of a standout ride this year like I've experienced in the past. I've had one or two like really good rides, but I haven't been able to get to the front, which is, as covered in previous vlogs, like one of my premium areas to sit on that particular coaster on a good day when you get the opportunity to get that seat. I've noticed also that for some reason on my sort of 10th ride now that I've been on it, I believe they've made adjustments to the speed in the launch itself, just minor enough to sort of like really give those G-forces that were so intense on the first experience of the ride a little less intense, as I've noticed on the throughput and the rest of the experience. So basically what I'm saying is that I think it's a little less forceful than it was on those opening weeks, and yeah, it's been tweaked now to be basically running efficiently, but also not as intense as it was on those first moments. This may be some sort of, repetition issue. Having rode it so many times now, you feel like it's just not as intense as that first ride. But I just feel like the G-forces, especially the negative G-forces that I experienced on my first couple rides on it, were just not as intense as they have been on the night rides and the ones that I've had in more recent times. And I've had almost like about 5-week gap in between my first initial rides and to these more recent ones. So I've definitely noticed a change. There's a lot of people that could probably say better about like what's actually going on, but I definitely feel like it's not as intense as it originally was.
Canada's Wonderland. Halloweenhaunt. But this year, something is different. The gates creaking open again. Haunting your
For this year, especially to incentivize the fact that the attractions pass or the haunted attractions pass is new for this year. So let's check out Dark Ride. Dark Ride all done. Trying to capture these experiences as fresh as I can, as opposed to sometimes in previous years where I'm like, I try to summarize everything at the end. So you're actually greeted by a host at the beginning on mic, which is a definite new change from the last time that I did this maze. So that was definitely creative, kind of like a master of ceremonies that enters, that greets you before the experience begins. And then you go inside. First room of impression is the sort of like a medieval themed room where you have sort of like period, sort of like turn of the century, even Victorian themed ghosts in there. Very creative use of light and windows. You have a lot of backlit windows in this particular maze. Now I will say, while it's fresh in my head, that also you do have, unfortunately, remnants of the previous maze that was in here. So a lot of like toxic green elements that you'll notice. That is an offshoot of what it originally was. It was like some sort of weird, like hybrid, toxic ooze, soldiers being infected. So you see remnants of the old maze in the past with all this toxic ooze and stuff that actually creeps up or is part of the scenery in there. A lot of security as well from what I've noticed, but there are some new animatronics, an impressive dragon's head that sort of hovers over one scene as well. A lot of like the faux sort of ghost train carts peppered throughout the ride. The theming of this ride is still a bit confusing to me, or ride, but experience is a bit confusing. I get it's a dark ride, but it should actually be a ghost train. I think that would be the most creative realization of what this thing is all about. but a pretty decent maze nonetheless. And pretty, is it really that much different than what I remember from previous years? I don't think so. It's probably got a couple of new animatronics. The most impressive one of which I'd say is the security guy, or the high-vis vest guy that's biting into a wire. You'll definitely know it if you come inside this maze. All right, it's definitely getting busy, so I got to get to another maze before it gets crazy for Haunt. Let's go. Just finished the ruins. I still think this is probably one of the better mazes at Wonderland. It's only the second one I'm doing today. It's been around for quite some time, but so many creative elements, including a ubiquitous serpent theme, including my favorite sort of costume actor so far, which is a serpent man that kind of confronts you midway through the maze. I don't want to spoil everything, but it's very Indiana Jones themed for sure. It definitely has, that kind of like overarching theme. So expect spiders, bats that greet you in the first room. I always have enjoyed that floor that has like the cracks in it that lights up from underneath, which is a creative effect, and also that sort of serpent room where they're like spitting at you as well. Very, very creative. Definitely enjoyed it. I think it is getting a bit dated and very predictable. I thought actually going through it that I was like, I could probably do this blind because I kind of know how it I kind of know each chamber and where like the actual trajectory is, so it's definitely not fresh, but still always enjoyable. And lots of actors in there. That's the ruins for you. All right, let's carry on. My opening vlog for this year criticized the lighting in the Haunt scare zone. It looks like there might have been an improvement on that since the week and a half that I've been here last. Fingers crossed. We'll see once we get out some of the mazes, and I'll give you a full idea of what my impressions are. But so much, not much fog or anything like that, but it definitely looks like some of the floodlighting that I didn't enjoy the last time has been improved upon. Alpen Fury doing its usual thing, creating a wait. Doesn't look too bad actually today, so we might end our experience with a ride on it in the dark. All right, the moment has arrived for our Conjuring experience, so I'm going to go straight inside. You can't film inside, obviously. I'll give you an impression of my impressions of this new attraction for 2025 on the way out. We've entered the Conjuring experience. We can film up until the experience starts. Of this exit for Thunder Run / the Conjuring experience. There's so much going on there. I really don't know really what to say other than if you knew the IP, there'd be a lot more to reference. So we have 4 actors that lead you through various sections of this experience. There's a lot. I don't really want to spoil it because there is a lot to it, including some things that Wonderland hasn't done in haunts before, including like a floor that moves and rattles and really kind of throws you off. There's a lot of interactivity. This is definitely Wonderland's answer to an escape room idea for sure, as you have a lot of those scenarios play out. So I'm not going to spoil anything as far as what happens, but probably the most impressive things are definitely the giant Annabelle. I actually had Annabelle for the majority of the experience. I didn't want to give her up. A lot of cool, interesting scare elements. I think some of the scares were a bit predictable as far as what was going to happen, I would say. If you don't like nuns and sort of that mythology when it comes to scares, then it's probably not for you. A lot of religious mythology as well. If you just did the mazes and the park itself, it's $55. So is this worth it at $30? I'm not entirely sure. I definitely think it was a unique experience and impressive and something fresh and new for Wonderland, which is definitely beneficial. It was good, but it didn't blow me away. There was definitely some creative stuff to it, some interesting scares, including the first one overall with an interactive painting, let's just call it that. Yeah, definitely cool. Definitely worth trying once, I would say, but repeat times, I'm not so sure. They do have a scare pass, I think includes this experience as well if you want to do it repeat times. Really cool thematic rooms as well. So yeah, that's the Conjuring experience.
We hope you enjoyed your ride. Vortex on the right, and click on this left, you can push up and exit to your left. Push up, exit.
Okay, all done with Spirit Manor and also Demons of the Deep. I don't have much to say about Spirit Manor because not much has changed with that haunt. It's the same as it has always been. You enter through the impressive and empirical entrance with the balcony and the staircase. It's always been the same. And then you go through various rooms, including the library. One of my favorites, which is the garden room, I believe it is, where the lightning goes off and you have those like window effects in the background. Very effective lighting. I'd say overall the lighting is the best in that particular maze. But not much has changed. In fact, the books that fly above your head in the library, I believe that they're much higher than they used to be, so you might even miss them if you don't look for them. And outside of that, no mist or anything like that, so that's the biggest difference that I'm noticing from this haunt from previous years. I know that they've really pared back on it over the years, but there's literally no fog to be found. I think it's time for an improvement. In previous years when I thought it was the best one here, now it's definitely starting to become a bit dated and predictable. Then moving on to Demons of the Deep, which is in its third year, I believe. Very effective, kind of actually built up, and there's been some improvements to it, including some of the lighting and also some of the detailings. Don't miss looking at some of the walls and some of the details in the walls. It's very cool. There's some pretty wonky creatures in there too, as far as like just look out for some interesting sort of like hybrid creatures in there, which is definitely very, very entertaining. Not so scary. You have a lot of ivy in these rooms where like you're going through these coral rooms, and the creatures of the deep, for lack of a better thing, are coming out and haunting you. And yeah, some pretty effective scares in there, and a really cool animatronic. I think is new this year, and probably the best animatronic in the entire haunt at the end of that particular maze. We've got 2 more to do. Not you again. Bye now. Ah! Oh, let's get out of here. Woo. Woo. Farewell. Watching me. Cornstalkers is next. Another maze that's been here for quite some time. Let's see if there's any changes this year. Okay, Cornstalkers all done, so that is one maze left. I will say, not much change, if anything, to that particular maze this year. In fact, I didn't notice any changes. It still was effective, and finally some fog, which was nice to see, as it definitely helped with the atmospheric, so definitely the most atmospheric of the mazes here, without question. And yeah, not much changes, but you know, it is really one of the best place mazes here. Lots of effective scare actors pumping out of the walls there. And yeah, the ones that actually, the actors on the ground, there's been a lot of actors at this event this year, so I'm noticing that, which is really effective overall. So if we're gonna lose fog, we might as well have more talent to actually give effective scares this year. Just one more maze left to do, and that would be the Crypt. And yeah, you know, there was zero changes to it. It was actually probably the weakest that I've experienced that maze in the times that I've done it. I've done it several times now. There's a few actors, I'd say like half a dozen. The rooms just weren't that effective because I guess the repetition is starting to take effect because you kind of know what to do. But it doesn't really have any sort of standout effects in that maze either. It really is all about the atmospherics, which is one of the best parts about it. Definitely atmospheric music. And yeah, you have all those fixtures where the creatures within the actual maze can come out of the walls and attack you. Very effective. They actually got me a couple of times, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite one overall due to the fact that, yeah, it's getting a little dated as well. There needs to be a big refresh overall on most of these mazes. And yeah, there was the longest wait as well, which was somewhat disappointing considering it wasn't really that fresh. Alas, we have some mist and fog. It's long overdue. It really has changed the entire atmosphere of this particular area, and the kids are loving it as well.
The only Alpen Fury makes some noise! Always turning it off, field and turning it to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, so like everybody.
Just had a very satisfying front row ride on Alpen Fury. So much so, I don't even need to ride it again, even though I could quickly get on it one more time before park close. But I've decided to go to the other side of the park to capture Streets of the Undead, which I didn't do in the last vlog because unfortunately, camera failed during that particular experience. So we're gonna go over and check it out. I might do one more night ride on Mindbuster, which was fantastic when I was here last time too. And then we'll just wrap things up and give you an overall impression of what has been a very successful day here at Haunt once again. Unfortunately, my first day wasn't the best, but it certainly has made up for it today. Crowd levels have been perfect, got on all the mazes, well satisfied. tour of Streets of the Undead. Unfortunately, I didn't get here in time for the actors. I think I really shot that the most effectively in a vlog 2 years ago, so definitely check that out. Just finished Yukon and ran over here to get onto Behemoth just in time, but to wrap things up after one more ride. That's a wrap here for Chapter 2 here at Canada's Wonderland Halloween Haunt. All scare mazes complete. Ooh, I think that's a live interpretation there. Definitely enjoyed my day here. Got a couple of quick rides at the end of it. One on Alpen Fury in the front row. Fantastic. Actually, I think I got a lot of wonder luck today as I got my favorite seat on Yukon Striker in the front right. That was a walk-on. 2 consecutive rides on Mindbuster. And then ended the night here with my finally a backseat ride on Behemoth that I think I've been waiting for since the spring. Overall, the event as well, the atmosphere has improved somewhat. Safety has definitely been top-notch this year. I definitely have to give them credit for that. And yes, some of the changes that I'm complaining about might be due to those safety concerns, which it seems like I've seen substantial improvement of. Now, this is a Sunday night, as mentioned, so it's not as crazy as it would be on, say, a Friday or Saturday. I tend to avoid those evenings on purpose, just so that way I don't have any negative interactions and try to enjoy my day. But I haven't noticed anything in 2 visits that really has been adverse to anyone feeling safe here. And yeah, the mazes, overall, I'd say there's definitely the biggest improvement needs to be done to the mazes. They've definitely invested a lot of money in the past in making sure that the atmospheres of the ones that are established here are great, but at the same time, I definitely think it needs a refresh because I wouldn't consider coming back to this event next year if, say, the Conjuring and all the mazes are the same, because it just wouldn't really make much of a sense. All right, we have one more place to actually go through, which is the Necropolis, which featured in the last video. Now we have a little private tour to enjoy those scare actors. So that's a wrap here for Chapter 2 of Halloween Haunt. I'm going to have another day here. We're going to focus maybe on the shows and just the general atmosphere of the event now that the main stuff is out of the way and celebrate the end of the season. Also hailed Herman with the fear that I might not be able to make it here for that event, but you have all the way until Winterfest to do that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch one of my end of the season vlogs from previous years. Alright guys, gonna wrap things up here, make my way out. I haven't eaten all day, so I've been kind of like stuck in with just the event. Ciao. Good. Ciao. The laughing guy is my new favorite actor, by the way.